growth is not about ladder. It is about lattice. The more you explore opportunities, the more you connect with people, that's where the growth happens. If you really want to be a leader, you build somebody like you along your journey. If you know that you are good at something, nobody can take it away from you. Even if you train somebody as good as like you, unless and until that person have the same potential, they will not be able to take your place. I was never insecure that somebody will come and take my position, because if someone is ready to take my position, that means I am ready to go for next position. If you are real and you make real efforts, you will be able to make real impacts. You will not be able to bring out results unless you have strong relationships or strong connections. And strong connections will not be built unless you are yourself. If you be yourself, people trust you, and that safe environment gets created, and then you are valued because of your authenticity. What I always tell myself is, I am not here to blend, I am here to lead. Maybe if I have spoken my truth and because of which I am losing something, I will choose that rather than gaining something for which I am only not passionate enough. It is not right to apologize for having your own voice or having your own thoughts. Right or wrong, that can be discussed, debated, but you should have your own voice. For me, authenticity in my everyday is like I am being authentic to my words, my values with my actions. I should not speak something else and act something else. That is my authenticity to my work or what I bring to the table. I'll not be brutally honest, I'll be respectfully honest, because at the end, I want to treasure that relationship which I have built. So yeah, being authentic is required even at the time of conflicts, but then I have to remember that it is about the situation and not the person.
Welcome to Office Tales and People podcast. Next few episodes are going to be with rising leaders from the industry. People who are working in India, outside India, it could be Gulf, Africa, Europe, but you will hear from people who have multiple region experience, multiple industry experience, and experiencing how companies grow with multiple challenges. I hope the upcoming series is something that you all enjoy and learn from. And do not miss even a single leader's show, because it's not just Office Tales and People, but it's the stories that are unheard of.
So in the upcoming Rising Leaders episodes, you will get answers to a lot of questions which have been on your mind. Don't miss any of these and tune in to Office Tales and People podcast.
And make sure that you share Office Tales and People podcast with everyone around. We often meet people who are already leaders, and we see them, we talk to them, we hear their podcast or some kind of content where we want to learn from leaders. But the real learning starts from people who are still work in progress, people who are almost there. And today we have a very, very interesting person with us, Zai Joshi. She's currently an Assistant Vice President, Learning and Development at Zurich Kotak General Insurance. Zai, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you, Shikha. It's my pleasure to be here.
Welcome to the show, Zai. We are very excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Likewise.
Are you ready for your first one?
Yes.
Okay. So, like all of us, Zai, you've also started as an individual contributor. I really want to know from you what motivated you to move to leadership roles. What is the mindset and attitude that you've worked on for yourself to get there?
That's a very interesting question, Priyanka. So when I was an individual contributor, I always believed on doing things right, owning things, and having that kind of a mindset. But later I realized that it is not only about how you do it right, but how you make the impact. So I think the first mindset shift which I had was, it is not only about owning your stuff, but making that particular impact. So that was the first mindset. Then eventually I realized that growth is not about ladder. I always used to think that I have certain milestones to achieve. I'll become AVP, DVP, etc., etc. But later on in the journey, I realized that it is about lattice. The more you explore opportunities, the more you connect with people. I think that's where the growth happens, is what I always believed or thought. So in the journey of being able to take those leadership roles, I think that mattered to me the most. It's not about the titles, it's not about the designations, but the core impact which you are bringing in for the table. And in the insurance industry, if I speak, because I have been in the insurance industry through and through, it is very dynamic. The customer expectations are changing. The reality around you changes almost every day with regulations, etc. And even the digital disruption which is happening. So if you have to be relevant and if you really want to be a leader, I think what matters is that you bring or you build somebody like you along your journey. Because if you are very good and perfectionist in your own work, you will keep doing the same work. You will not be able to grow unless you have someone like you who is that passionate and dedicated. So I think that was my motivation to take up to the leadership roles.
So I think that's very interesting. So you're saying that while you learn your next role
Correct.
to grow, you have to get somebody ready.
Absolutely.
And you see mostly people insecure about that.
Absolutely.
You don't want people to take your seat, right?
Exactly.
And most of them don't realize that you cannot grow until you get somebody ready for your own role. So thank you for that. That's an interesting answer.
So I have a follow-up question, Zai, on that. That you said that you need to prepare others for your role. How do you, you have dealt with that possessiveness that comes into anybody, any one of us? We could feel this possessiveness, or we could feel insecure about losing that position or that authority or power. How did you deal with that emotion of yours?
So I think my answer to this will be in two parts. One is first believing in yourself. If you know that you are good at something, nobody can take it away from you. Trust me, I mean, even if you train somebody as good as like you, unless and until that person have the same potential, they will not be able to take your place. It is all about growing together, because unless we all rise, we will not be able to grow. I think that's what I strongly believe.
So what she's saying is something that I think we've often talked about between me and Priyanka, is that it's a time for collaboration, not competition.
Absolutely. And second is, I think the authenticity comes into the picture here, wherein I believe that if you are real and you make real efforts, you will be able to make real impacts. So fortunately enough, I never had that possessiveness about my title, or I was never insecure that somebody will come and take my position. Because if someone is ready to take my position, that means I am ready to go for next position. I think it was very easy for me that way.
Authenticity is very tough, It is not easy to practice. It is sort of threat to so many people, and it can also risk your growth. What has kept you motivated to practice authenticity in your career, in your journey so far?
I would completely agree with you when you said that it is looked at as risk. Because often when I started my journey, even asking questions was, it was made me feel like that I am not blending in, or I am just too loud, or
Questioning too much.
questioning too much. So definitely I tried in the early stage of my career, I tried to fit in by speaking the language of the environment, what they want to hear. But then slowly I realized that you will not be able to bring out results unless you have strong relationships or strong connections. And strong connections will not be built unless you're yourself. People will not trust you unless you put yourself forward. So that was, I think, my biggest trigger or motivator, I would say, to be authentic. And second is, I even had experienced the impact of not being authentic. I was burning out because I had to be someone who I am not. So every day preparing to be that someone, being calculative and constantly thinking about what to speak, how to speak, etc., because I was not myself. So that was burning me out, and hence my focus was getting shifted from actually doing my work, or getting that expertise, to something which is, I think, not relevant enough. So hence the belief is that if you be yourself, people trust you, and that safe environment gets created, and then you are valued because of your authenticity.
So while you were speaking, there was a scene that was coming to my mind, and I want to ask you that Have you noticed that whenever we are about to speak something very honest,
Yeah.
our legs shiver?
Yeah, definitely.
And in that moment of shiver, that we are about to speak the truth, and we might lose a job or lose the faith of our seniors or maybe team members, and still, if we speak truth, have you done that?
Yeah, I definitely have. Because what I always tell myself is I'm not here to blend, I'm here to lead. So if I have to do that, of course I have my fears. Of course, every time, like you said, I have that constant trigger that please don't say this, otherwise you will lose on something. But then what's the fun of gaining something which I'm not enjoying or I'm not true to myself? So I will rather choose to lose something which, maybe if I have spoken my truth and because of which I'm losing something, I will choose that rather than gaining something for which I am only not passionate enough.
I think this takes a lot of courage
It does. It does.
to,
Yeah.
let something go and allow authenticity to win. I think it's very, it's a matter of courage. Not everybody can do it. So
Yeah,
good that
it's
we are
great. But
hearing.
you know what I want to ask you is, since you talked about it, that there's that voice which keeps telling you to shut
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah.
How did you quiet that voice and get the courage actually to speak up?
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it is funny or something, but there is one line which used to come in the TV commercials very early on. Choose wisely, live well was the tagline of one of the TV commercial channel. They used to sell products and they used to market themselves that you choose wisely so that you will live well. I think that stayed with me and I go by that statement every day in my, whether it is a professional life or personal life. There will be times when you have to take hard decisions. Take smart decisions, I would say. You don't always have to be hard with you, that you have to do the right thing, but at least do the thing which will give you that joy, which will not make you feel ki अरे ये क्या कर दिया तूने, just to be in that environment or blend in with the environment. Don't do something जो तुम्हें ही मजा ना आए later on.
Yeah, so
So I think that keeps me doing it every day and not listening to that voice which says कि नहीं नहीं ठीक है
and
कर लो
reminding
ये.
yourself,
Yeah.
choose wisely,
Live
live well.
well. Yeah.
That's a nice. I
It's a
haven't
nice
seen
one.
this line, but
Yeah.
it is really,
In
really
my
powerful.
childhood, there was a television what channel which used to sell the products every
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
So they had this tagline: "Choose wisely, live well." I think it
So
stayed
very
with
nice.
me.
awesome. Very nice. Thanks.
So, taking this forward, Zai, have there been situations where you've been asked to tone it down, and how did you respond in those situations?
So definitely yes. I think all of us can relate to this. I feel that there are times when you have been told that you're too loud, or like I said, there are times when you have been told that you're too expressive. So don't just give everything away, something like that. So yeah, earlier when I started, I used to take it very personally. I used to, make it feel like that I self doubt and everything. I used to go on to that journey and I used to make sure that no, I will speak the language and I will tell them that I can. But then later on, as I continued doing that, I realized that toning it down is not helping me in any way because I'm not able to have my voice. And it is not right to apologize for having your own voice or, having your own thoughts. Right or wrong, that can be discussed, debated, but you should have your own voice. So I realized that that's not right for, being sorry for having your own voice. So I started then to reflect that whether it is my style or whether it is that substance. If it is my style which is making people uncomfortable, I will definitely alter it. I will work on it, but I am not going to do away with my substance. If I have certain, things to put it forward, I will put it forward. If you're not okay with style, we can work on that.
I just want to bring to the table is, as women, don't you think we have a habit of saying sorry for everything? We start our sentences with, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. Sorry, but can I say something? Sorry, but may I?" Why do you think that happens? And what are we apologizing for?
I think I agree. I completely agree. And even I'm trying to find the, correct response saying why, because that why is something I think we have been coded in that way, to feel that way always, that first of all, you have been given the opportunity to work, so just be happy in that and feel sorry for everything. I think that's how it is still in the corporate world. Even in spite of having so many wonderful women leaders, it is still that way. That sorry, can I, like very correctly you said, sorry, can I ask you something? Sorry, can I suggest something? So that's what I have started, building for myself at least, that I will not apologize for having a voice. That's very clear, at least for me.
I mean, I am experiencing that every single day. That so many of my colleagues also, I don't know, I should I should say this or not, but I've never met a male colleague
Absolutely.
saying sorry.
Absolutely.
Can I tell you this? It's always my female colleagues.
Correct.
Who've always saying, "Oh, sorry, Shikha, can I say this?" I was like, "You're here to talk.
Correct.
Why do you have to
What are
start
you
with
sorry
sorry?"
for? What are you sorry for?
And why is it happening with women? I really want to call this out. Stop saying sorry.
Yeah.
Just
What are you sorry for? For existing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
For existing, are you sorry for
Very
that?
nicely said.
I
yeah.
think that the moment women will start owning up their existence,
Correct.
they will understand they are not supposed to be sorry.
absolutely,
They have a
absolutely agree.
voice, and I think
I think add to what you said, it is women because of whom all of us are existing. I
Exactly.
think that is something we should remember.
So I think, yeah, we just need to make sure that we are being unapologetically
Correct.
us.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
Just be you.
Just be you. Yeah.
so. Zai, next question is from me, and I want to understand that authenticity needs to be practiced every day in decisions, conversations, in conflicts.
Yeah.
So from your journey, when you were walking from individual contributor to taking up more, leadership roles, how have you continued to use authenticity in everyday conversations, in everyday decisions? Isn't it tough to do that every day? And if it is, how have you been maneuvering this part of your journey?
I think you have answered some part of it already, that it is a everyday thing. You have to keep doing it. You cannot, choose to be authentic one day and then forget about it in remaining days. So for me, authenticity in my everyday is like I am being authentic to my words, my values with my actions. I should not speak something else and act something else. That is my authenticity to my work or what I bring to the table. So when you say in conversations, I think I should be able to put forward what I actually mean. That is something which my authenticity stands for. That I should not just, decorate my words or just, say things just to please someone. If I feel something, I should be able to say it. In the conflicts, definitely what I try to practice is that I will, I'll not be brutally honest. I'll be respectfully honest, because at the end I want to treasure that relationship which I have built. So yeah, being authentic is required even at the time of conflicts. But then I have to remember that it is about the situation and not the person. So I think that is what I follow while
I
being
think that's
authentic.
really nice.
That's
a
really nice. Yes.
situation and not the person. But
Many leaders forget that actually.
that's true. But also, sorry to cut you in between, but before I forget this, that authenticity is not valued.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? And if you have, how have you dealt with that part?
So, to be very honest, it is not yet valued even for me completely. I will say that, because it is not something that everybody accepts the way you are. People feel that why not? Why you are not blending? Because we all of us are practicing that. Why you want to stand out? Why you want to? So sometimes people even say that being authentic is, seeking the limelight. You're only being authentic because you want to stand out or you want to tell everybody that you're different. But having said that, like I said, I have experienced what it is not to be authentic. It is a personal loss. And if you are not comfortable with yourself, you will not be able to deliver even the smallest task. So when it is your personal loss, it is your organization's loss as well. So I have understood that, thankfully, early in my, career stage, that no, I will not be someone else. I will not have that dual personality wherein in my personal life I believe on something else, and while practicing it, I will, practice something else. So that is definitely something which is there. And second is, yeah, I don't know why it is not valued yet, because what I feel is there is a fear that if everybody starts being true, or they start showing off their own faces, I think people, those people who have earned certain respect because of being in certain way और showing them off in certain way, आई थिंक उनका रियलिटी जब बाहर आना शुरू होगा, शायद वो डर है कि कहीं ना कहीं लोग रिस्पेक्ट करना कम कर देंगे या वी विल लूज दोज कनेक्शंस. बट इवेंचुअली यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट द कनेक्शंस विच आर बेस्ड ऑन फियर और फेकिज्म विल नॉट स्टे लॉन्ग. As it is, they are going to, get away from you.
I think leaders, it's very important, and I've always said this in my career, that they should do what they say they will do.
Yeah.
And that's what will make them authentic.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think that's what
I think
it
it's
is.
the action and not the words
Absolutely.
that matters. But like I said, it's not yet valued completely
Yeah.
when it comes to authenticity. But I don't know. I mean, right now we three are in conversation on a topic which is authenticity. And I can only just say that I hope Indian workplaces, at least where we are working maximum, should strive to be authentic workplaces. I think we all will enjoy more if we are in an environment which is authentic, isn't it?
Definitely.
So, Zai, I want to know from you, we all have grown from one level to another. And as women, obviously, there are biases, there are barriers in the organization. When you grew from individual contributor to a leadership role, what are the barriers you faced and how did you overcome them?
I think definitely this is something which is very close to my heart because I have really worked hard on, battling those internal barriers. So a very, I would say, common barrier which all women leaders or all women individual contributors for that matters, a working professional feels is that self-doubt, that, have just trying to prove that you are ready. When you're already still, you are ready, but you're trying to constantly prove that you're ready. So that self-doubt was definitely there. And the second was, I never understood the importance of marketing yourself. I always felt that I should excel in my work, I should keep doing my work, and I should be very good at it, and my work would speak for itself. But that's not the case. Unfortunately, I don't know. But it is, so marketing yourself now, what I have understood is it's not about, just bragging about what you're doing, but it is about creating that influence. Without you knowing, maybe there are women out there who will learn from your stories. So I think that was another biggest internal barrier I had of speaking about yourself. So that is something which now I have started to overcome by believing in this thought that so here I would like to quote Shikha, because when I met her in the professional setup, I never knew the accomplishment she had, but when she actually told me about it, that is the time I realized that yes, unless and until you tell people what you have done, they will never realize.
How will they know?
Exactly. What was your journey? How was it? So, in order to overcome those barriers, I think two things help me a lot. One is my mentors, some wonderful colleagues of mine who always help me to challenge, to tell me that no, you are doing a good thing and you are ready for it. So, just go for it. And second is understanding this fact that, yeah, it's a journey of maybe influencing people and creating that impact by not self-doubting yourself whether I should say this or no, whether I should do this or no, but just to go for it. Because I think there is nothing to lose if you go for it. If you don't go for it, I think you will never have that experience of what it is to achieve something. So I think these are the two ways I feel I have overcome my barriers, or I'm trying. I have not completely, but I'm trying.
Yeah, and I hope people hear this and learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
So, Zai, I'm hoping that this show will reach to a lot of individual contributors. What message do you have for both men and women individual contributors that they should keep in mind when they start their journey and when they start aiming to be in leadership roles? What is your message or advice to them?
I think 2-3 advices I'll be able to give. One is from my own experience, like I just said, don't wait to be ready. Nobody is, I would say qualified enough to tell you or validate you that, okay, now you're ready. It's all about you and your mindset. If you feel you're ready to take up that opportunity, please go ahead for that. Don't wait for somebody to come and tell you that now you're ready. By doing this, you are giving that, decision making in someone else's hand.
So have
don't
that
do that.
agency with you.
Correct. Have that agency with you. Second is own your voices. What we have been talking about throughout the episode, that it is very important to feel confident for having your voice. So if you have that, I think your leadership journey or any professional journey, I would say, not only towards leadership, it will be really easy. Third, what I very strongly believe in, having your network. Have those people around you who will support you, challenge you, and when you are in doubt, they'll be able to guide you. Because, like we have said earlier, that if we all rise, then only we all be able to grow together. So it's all about collaboration. Have that network with you. And last but not the least is believe in yourself and be authentic. Again, the same thing I would like to tell, that no, I would say, role plays or, no particular template will get you to a leadership. It is all about you and your journey, the way you want to take it forward. So I think that would be my message.
Thanks.
That's interesting.
That's very nice.
So, just to add, when you say have your voice, and I've experienced this, that many a times people have a voice, but they are not sure on what they're talking about. So I would just want to add saying, have a voice and have data along with it.
Yeah.
So when
Very
you have
important.
data, that's when people hear you.
Very important.
Because business wants to listen to you only with numbers. So having a voice without being ready about what you're talking about and why are you saying that makes it a little challenging.
Right.
So just adding
I think
to
this
that
particular
message,
point, me and Zai together have advocated a lot in professional settings.
Yes.
I think data.
So have a voice along with data.
With data is the most important thing when you go out and start speaking. If you have the data right in your hands, people will listen to you.
Yeah.
Right. I think one statement comes to my mind around this is voice without data is just a noise. Maybe we can say
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Nice.
Okay. So, Zai, we all know in organizations, we've worked in large organizations, they all have a set of values. And people have a set of values themselves as well, right? So, how do you, one is navigate between your personal values and organization values? And the second question with that I want to ask you is, what is that one value of yours which you will not ever compromise at your workplace?
Very interesting question. I think I'll answer the second question first. Respect is the value I'll never compromise, whether I am at the receiving end or a giving end. So I believe it does not matter. The hierarchy doesn't matter. I believe your titles, your positions, or the pace or the team structure, that doesn't matter when it comes to giving or receiving respect. So I try to, build that respect when I'm leading or when I'm contributing. And when I say respect, it is not only about respecting just the existence, but about creating that safe environment wherein everybody feels inclusive. By that, you are showing a true respect that, yes, you have equal stake on the table. And when it comes to receiving respect, of course, I will never compromise in the situation wherein even if I'm wrong, I'm not been treated respectfully. So there is a way to put out even if I'm wrong. So that is something which I strongly believe, and that is one value which is very core in my entire professional journey. And navigating between organizational values and personal values, I think the way I look at it is, organization is one, kind of a family thing wherein you are a part of that family. So again, it starts with you first giving importance to your values, sticking to it and practicing that every day, and aligning yourself with the organization values with the same, zeal and authenticity, the way you will live your values. So that's how I think I navigate between organization and
I think
personal
as long
values.
as there's no huge disconnect between organization value and your own personal value, I think it should work out on, being able to adapt the ones the organization has laid out.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
This was an episode that focused on authenticity. Both I and Priyanka wish that you've completely soaked in the entire concept of being authentic at the workplace. And do share this episode if you are an individual contributor, work in progress to be a leader, And anybody who's starting the journey in the corporate world or in the workplace, I would love for you to give us feedback. So please drop in some of your feedbacks in the comment section. See you in the next episode of Office Sales and People podcast. And I hope that you've had a really good time with me, Priyanka, and Zai on this episode.
See you in the next one.